With all the problems we have in Nigeria, do you really think that changing the Nigerian national item is the most important thing, or touching the constitution, trying to modify and do new things in the in that way, not to help the masses, not to establish the masses, or even give them good water to start with? Because Nigeria is still one of that country where water is like it doesn't exist. Listen to what this video is talking about, because it gets some people will be say, even for me to even they carry their big name they put for my mouth to go they heavy me, because the way where they take the wicked Nigerians, assuming saying that them be the God where they give us bread, and only God know waiting for happen. Watch out.
Chairman Body of State Attorneys General asked for 15 days instead, because only some of the states got the hearing notices on time. Bending a little, Fagbemi agreed for the court to give them 7 days. And in its ruling, the Apex Court panel, headed by Justice Lawal Garba, agreed to the 7 days. It further ordered all parties to conclude by June 10 the exchange of court documents. The Apex Court panel also ordered that the 8 states that weren't part of Thursday's proceedings be issued hearing notices, again ahead of June 13 when parties will argue the case. Already, some representatives of local governments are hailing the action of the Nigerian government.
We want to commend the federal government for taking these steps to rejig the democratic processes and to make sure dividends of democracy comes to the people of the grassroots. Enough of the high-handedness, where people will sit down on the wings and capacities of the offices and take decisions, not minding the dangers that is going to come to the third tier and the grassroots people. Today in our state, local government council funds have been withheld for over 3 months.
In court, and then you saw what transpired. The AGF sued the 36 governors through the attorneys general, and that's why we are here.
The Attorney General in this case has noted that the governor's failure to put a democratically elected local government system in place is a deliberate subversion of the 1999 Constitution they and the President have sworn to uphold. Godfrey Eshemoge, Arise News.
Chief Victor Atta was governor of Akwa Ibom State between 1999 and 2007. He joins us now to again look at the quest for local government autonomy in Nigeria, the reintroduction of the old national anthem, and whether or not this development signifies that the clamor for restructuring is finally being heard at the right quarters, and what manner of restructuring would ideally suit a country with the manifest characteristics of Nigeria. Good afternoon and welcome to Newsday.
Thank you.
So what are your thoughts, on the issue, on the call for local government autonomy, and of course the Attorney General's lawsuit against the 36 states over this same issue?
I believe it is a legitimate demand, and the distortion came because we distorted the whole concept of democracy in Nigeria. In my time, there couldn't have been such a lawsuit because the local governments had their autonomy. But the administration of our constitution becomes a matter of gerrymandering, and personal people just decide how best to manipulate the constitution. And that is because this constitution is wrong. This constitution is not made by Nigerians and is not made for Nigeria. So we really need to go back to the fundamentals. We need to change the constitution and have a constitution that's made by Nigerians for Nigeria. And if we can do that, believe me, all these things will correct themselves. I mean, a constitution is not legitimate by its content. It's by the process by which it came into being. This constitution came into being through an illegitimate means. And if you have an illegitimate child, go to any cosmetic surgeon to change the shape of his nose, to change the color of his eyes. He remains illegitimate. The only thing that can make it legitimate is if it comes from you and it comes from the people. And that's what we refuse to accept. We must change this constitution. I don't care whether people want to continue with the presidential system, which I believe is not the best for Nigeria, but if it is to be that, the Nigerians would have written the type of presidential constitution that they will be able to operate democratically. We don't have true democracy in Nigeria under this constitution that we have today, and that is the problem. And so you asked the question about restructuring. Yes, it all boils down to restructuring. We have to restructure this country. We have to have a new constitution that the people will be able to administer it democratically. That's my position. It has always been.
Okay, fair enough. And in the same vein of discussing the changing of the Constitution, I want to discuss the recent change to the national anthem, the reintroduction of the colonial national anthem. Some are saying that this might be a bad, not priority move, but others are saying that it might signal that the National Assembly, albeit the government, are starting to restructure their minds in terms of thinking of restructuring and tackling that within this administration. What do you think about that?
If it is the second, if it is that it reflects an attempt to restructure, I would agree. But my problem is, has somebody asked, why did we change it in the first instance? We had an anthem, we changed it, now we want to change it back. Have we questioned the man that changed it? Because it was just the president that decided he wants a different constitution. And he went to the National Assembly, and National Assembly agreed and passed it, just as somebody has now gone to National Assembly, and National Assembly has agreed. We just keep wasting time on dancing around the same thing. How many countries are there that have had anthems for centuries, if you like, and have not changed? And because maybe we just feel every time we come, somebody has to do something new, those sort of things should be totally material. And believe me, if I say they don't concern me too much, I mean it. Because I don't see what changing a new constitution or an anthem will do for us, unless, as you have said, and I want to pray that it is true, that it is a reflection of now an intent to, in fact, change the constitution, change certain things that are wrong in our democracy.
Well, I'm wondering, earlier you said that the Constitution needs to change because the one we have now is illegitimate. But I'm wondering, is it only the Constitution that needs to change, or the mindset of our leaders also need to change? For instance, if we have leaders that do not believe in the rule of law or in equity and justice, especially with a compromised law enforcement agency, what use really would a new constitution be to the growth of Nigeria?
Now I will ask the question. These people changing their minds, are we going to have a new breed of Nigerians with a new idea about how this to be democratic and to do things? We just accept the fact that the Nigerian character has been demonstrated over time. And if that's the Nigerian character, let us go back to what Nigerians wanted to be, because our forefathers knew the character of Nigerians. People say, oh, the presidential system is right, but it's just the people that are operating it. I ask, are we going to import new people, different people, non-Nigerians to come and administer this thing so that it will work for us? My belief is that if you know who you are, and you make the rules in a way that will stop you, rules that will stop you from doing evil things, I think it's better off than copying somebody else's constitution, and then telling me that the people that are operating it are the ones that are making it bad. Why don't we just operate something that will make it difficult for people to be bad? But apart from that, you have referred to leaders that are not law-abiding. Have we punished them? If there's no retribution, if there's no punishment for the wrong things will continue. So the judicial system must also, which is also spelled out in our constitution, must also be looked at very carefully. If you do something wrong and nobody punishes you, you are encouraged to continue to do that thing that is wrong. But if you know that there are consequences to wrongdoing, I believe you will begin to tell yourself, maybe I should stop doing this wrong thing.
And I want to draw a parallel between what the United States is going through right now with Donald Trump and his hush money case, and them seeming to try to give him some kind of accountability for the acts that he committed while he was a president in order to preserve their democracy, so to speak. Now, bringing it back to Nigeria, what do we need to do in order to preserve our democracy? What manner of restructuring is going to be beneficial for us?
I will spell it out. The structuring that I've always believed in is go back to a democratic arrangement. We've had civilian rule, but we have not had a democratic rule. Democracy, you can't have this kind of authoritarian, single, one person is responsible. I read the headlines today from the north. The hunger in the north is unacceptable, and it's addressed to Tinubu, not even to his party. Why should the president be the one responsible for feeding, if you like? Okay, they have to manage the economy correctly, but if you hand everything over to one person and he doesn't prove able to manage it sufficiently well, you should know that what you are doing is wrong. We had regions before. They started with 3, then they became 4, and then now we have 36 states. Why don't you allow the 36 states to manage their affairs? If you allow the 36, and that's the only restructuring that I'm talking about. Get a position where the state can look after themselves, pay the wages that they can. Today we are still talking about minimum wage. One state is paying this, one state is offering that, because they're looking at what they can pay. But we want a national uniform this, uniform that, uniform everything. We are too big for that kind of uniformity. We are too big for only one company to be responsible for giving us electricity. We are too big for only one company to be giving us the proper rail system. We are too big for all these things. So let us have if you like, a separation of powers. Let the center just manage us as a nation, look after our citizenship, look after our military, look after those currency and so on, but let the states, which should now be the federating units, look after the people. The lower you go down, the closer you are to the people. That's why the local government thing is very important. I asked a question, because you refer to the fact that you acknowledge the fact that I was governor for 8 years in Akwa Ibom. I asked a question. You want me to operate a presidential system at local government level? Please, what does that mean? Because the laws for the local government are made by the House of Assembly. They don't have their own assembly. And you want me to go and elect a local government chairman. And when he's elected, he will appoint from outside of the councillors a supervisor for agriculture, supervisor for health, supervisor for works. Please, what is the work of the councillors? Why did we elect them? Is it just to go every month and share money? I rejected it. And I did what I thought was sensible, which was to say, look, every community elect a councillor. And this is the man you will be querying if there's nothing going on in your local government area. And when they got there, from among themselves, they elected one, just first among equals. They call him head of council. I did not have any local government chairmanship election, which in any case is wrong. It's fake, because the governor just decide who he wants to be local government chairman, and that is who will be the local government chairman. I didn't have any such thing. And at least try to be democratic, set the rules so that you can establish democracy. What we have here is completely wrong. So the restructuring I'm talking about is give autonomy to the federating units. Give as much autonomy as you can to the federating units. Let the center just administer us so that we are one country and hopefully grow into being a nation.
Now, Chief Victor Atta, I'm sure you are aware that even without the autonomy, you are aware of what the state governors are already doing. Some of them have become mini gods. They are ruling their states with iron fist. They are installing their puppets in office when they leave so that they can continue to rule. So then again, I wonder really how that would benefit Nigeria if we still have this same set of people in office, even if we restructure.
You will not have this same set of people, because this same set of people come through a system that allows this type of people to come through. If you allow, let me give you an example of option A4. If you had a system whereby the people were able to choose who their leaders are, who their administrators are, you will not have this same set of people. You will have people that know that they are answerable to the people who put them there. But today, let me ask you, maybe you know, but I doubt that you know who is representing you in the House of Assembly or in the House of Representatives. Because the system by which they come through, you don't matter. Please tell me something. Have we not seen the fight that's going on in Kogi? Have we not seen the fight that is going on in Rivers? Have we not seen even a video that's now viral that it was former president's wife that took Wike's hand and gave it to Peter Odili to go and make him governor? Is that, where does the people vote? Where do the votes of the people? And yet, the people have the sovereignty. Where are their votes? They don't matter. Somebody just makes somebody, you use the word puppets, make their puppets. And I read a paper called Boy Boy Governor, and I was serious. Because if a governor makes his boy the governor, and that boy makes his boy, you now become a boy boy governor. We don't want that. We should not have that. But this system makes sure that that is all we have. I'm asking for a system that says you cannot have that. You should not have that. You should have a people's governor that's selected and elected by the people. It's not just at the local government level. Local government, governorship, even presidency. You have a president that's elected by 1/3 of the votes. That's what we have. And the constitution permits it. But it should not be so.
Can we for a second interrogate the forms of government? Some say that democracy runs afoul of our initial African nature, in the fact that a lot of West African countries are crumbling. There's issues with coups. Even, let's give, for example, just internationally, they say democracy doesn't work. We see what's going on in the US, we've seen what's happened in Brazil, et cetera, et cetera. Some are saying that democracy needs to be fine-tuned. Is that even a possibility within your mind? Is there some way of having some kind of hybrid system, since we have seen and historically have seen that this pure democracy, as we try to practice it, never actually materializes itself that way, and large swaths of people are disenfranchised and angry due to it?
Let Nigerians decide. Please let Nigerians decide what they want. If you can give Nigerians a chance to decide what they want, they'll know that this is what they wanted, and they know that they want to work within that type of system. I will remind us that it took 7 years from 1953 to 1960 for us to fashion out what we had before, the parliamentary system. That's how long it took. Conferences after conferences after conferences, and everybody signed that, yes, this is what we want. We have not had a situation where Nigerians have come together and agreed, these are the terms and conditions under which we want to stay together. And that should be the foundation of the Constitution, made by the people, for the people. Give the people a chance to write their own constitution. Whether they want a hybrid system, a modified democratic system. Please, let's not confuse democracy with parliamentary system or presidential system. Either of it is still democracy, if you like. But the system, let us have a system that the people want for themselves.
Now, with the change in the national anthem, the call for state police, local government autonomy, and so on, some analysts are saying that the federal government is simply implementing the recommendations of the 2014 Confab report, and that this might actually be the right step towards restructuring the country. What are your thoughts on this?
As I said earlier, and you mentioned it before, if it is a thought towards restructuring, I will accept. But I don't see how changing the anthem works towards that. But if it is a reflection of the new mindset, so be it. But I was at the 24 conference. I was at the 1994 conference. And I don't remember that we said we should change the anthem or go back to the... But Why be selective? Take even the issue of state police. Some people are saying, oh, governors will abuse it. My own view is that if you put somebody as a governor and tell him he's the chief security officer, and you send him policemen from outside of his state, largely from outside his state, you are sending him mercenaries, because he's the person that pays them, he's the person that gives them instruction. The only other person sometimes that can stand up against that may be the IG, because sometimes if that commissioner of police in your state doesn't want to do what you're asking, he will tell you the IG said maybe we shouldn't do it like that. But how can you be the chief security officer and you don't have control of the coercive forces, if you like, or the law enforcement authority is not entirely in your hands? But let me tell you where I disagree with those who think that the governors will abuse this system. If you have a police system and the commissioner is from one of the local government areas, his subordinates are from different government areas, and the entire police force is composed of people from different local government areas within the state. By the time you are plotting anything evil, or you want to use this against that, believe me, the news has leaked out. You can't. While as with this system of mercenaries, and I believe, I'm not using that word in an abusive manner, but they are, because whoever pays the piper dictates the tune. They have no interest other than what does the governor want? What did the governor say we should do? That's all. For me, that is where you